Welcome, welcome to our Monday night brand night. We have an incredible speaker tonight. I cannot wait for you guys. This is the pre-launch of an incredible company out of New Zealand and Australia as well. So this will be not only launching a company, but also launching a new country or two countries, which is pretty awesome. So I'm going to pass it over to JoJo, but first let me just do a little intro. I myself am Dr. Dana McGrady. And as we bring on this brand, I want you to know who you're going to be listening to tonight and why it's near and dear to my heart, because this is the type of medicine that I myself practice. So you're going to hear from Linda Hogard tonight. She is out of New Zealand. She lives on a beautiful farm in New Zealand, and she is a naturopathic physician practitioner of 25 years. And she has been 20 years in network marketing. So she understands the industry, but she also understands how to get the body to heal itself with the beauty of natural medicine. So I think that is so awesome. I've heard her speak for the last 20 minutes, and she definitely speaks our language as a team. I'm going to pass it over to JoJo Monroe. We're all going to get to see JoJo and Linda in Dallas tonight or this weekend. If you're going to be in Dallas this weekend, JoJo is a 7-figure income earner in network marketing, an entrepreneur, a mama of 2, a beautiful wife, and a little birdie told me it's going to be her birthday this Saturday. So we all get to give her big hugs. I'm going to pass it over to you, JoJo. I cannot wait to hear from Linda.
Awesome. I was the birdie. I told her. Yeah, it's a big birthday, and it's really not 43, in case anyone wanted to know. But it is a big birthday because it's about the beauty of aging exquisitely. And if you are new to Marketplace, the brilliant product Linda is going to go into is in the category of health and wellness, right? But if you're new here and you're looking at MDC for the first time, we are a hub. We are a hub of over 20 brands, launching new brands every month, as it seems right now. And we have over 10 categories, 10 multi-billion and trillion-dollar categories in both physical and digital products. And all that means to you is you get to swap where you shop, transfer your spending, fall in love with the categories you appreciate, and really have the ability to share so much with so many people. And Linda, my dear, are you with me?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone. Hi, Jojo, and hi, everyone.
Hi. And, Linda, your passion has been, like Dr. Daisy May said, for 2 decades in that health and wellness arena, in that arena of prevention. May we be blessed to never know the diseases we are preventing and to put our body in an environment to do what we know it's miraculously designed to do, which is heal itself.
Yep.
So give us your background and why that was so important for you at such a young age to dive into and make a career out of.
Oh, totally. I mean, probably fortunately, because it gives me a great perspective. I do know what it's like to be really, really quite unwell. I had quite an unwell childhood. And by the time I was 12, I decided I was going to study medicine. I was naturally just really inquisitive about what was going on with people, why people were and how the way they are. But also kind of, why I was the most sickliest kid at school, why I'd been in kind of hospital, and it wasn't necessarily horrendous stuff. It was a lot of chronic ear infections, but that led to years of antibiotics that then through some of my kind of dodgy methylation genes and family history went into kind of endometriosis and polycystic ovaries, and had the great misfortune of being in a school in New Zealand New Zealand had a preventative dentistry program in the 70s and 80s. That meant they basically filled your teeth full of amalgam fillings, whether you had fillings or not.
Wow.
And I had a whole chunk of that redone when I was 12. And, really looking back onto it, by the time I was coming into sort of, my mid-teens, I was having signs of mercury poisoning and the subsequent chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia with it. So by the time, I think pretty much the last time I saw a doctor when I was 15, and he just told me that all my problems were because my mother was a redhead and I probably had some weird genes. I now know what those genes are with all the updates and being able to do genetic testing, particularly around methylation. So I had a lot of questions, and our family osteopath, naturopath, from then gave me all his biochemistry books, and I was already reading in the field of natural medicine. I just kind of started. And knew that when I was ready, I would go to Australia, to study to be a naturopath. And I needed to do it to get my own life back. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I'd be one of those people who would have just got worse and worse as life got on and just be in bed with chronic fatigue. So it's a big kind of area of my understanding. And I suppose it's probably why the product we're going to talk to today, it's had a significant effect on my life. I'm excited about the science behind it. And I spent a lot of time talking to people about it, helping get this product to market in Australia and New Zealand. But it's time for it to go kind of worldwide. And have people have access to the quality of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that study, because let's talk about that. Let's dive in, not only the holes that you were experiencing in your life, but through this study, through the practitioner piece of seeing human beings and what's going on in their bodies, you saw some significant holes. You saw some chronic significant holes that were consistent in human after human after human. And so what are some of the holes that you wanted to fill? Before we dive, you guys, I promise we'll get into the product, but before we go there,
there's a lot to talk about, and this will probably be the first of interviews. Jojo and I have to go, we have to do an interview on that. One of the big questions is why do some people not thrive in a Western society, and somehow some people do. I think a lot of people feel the effects of a Western diet and pollution, etc. But for a lot of people, and the type of people that would turn up kind of into the clinics that like Dr. Dana and I run, they have chronic fatigue. So what starts hitting the wall? And what we've really discovered, particularly, the research has amped up that, this century around being able to do genetic testing. I don't know if you can hear that. So I've got my turkeys have decided to come to the window. They're making a hell of a racket. They've got out of the fence. So that we understand that there are kind of genetic glitches in people. And you might have seen information about this online. There are a lot of medical influencers out there talking about, are there reasons why you're just chronically not thriving? You can get these genetics kind of tested. And I know for myself, when those tests first started coming out, I was like, at the course. And I suppose one of the things that happened to me when I went to my first course, I had a series of genetic tests done that looked at genes that could be influenced by environmental factors and nutritional supplementation. And in this test, your genes are kind of marked red for like you've got really crappy genetic information, to orange to green. And on the front page of this genetic report, it's all the inflammatory genes. And the guy who's teaching it says, if you're looking at a report that has got more than 50% orange and red, you're really going to be dealing with someone who's not thriving in a modern environment, and they're going to be very prone to chronic fatigue, autoimmunity, etc. And I looked at mine, and I dragged my chiropractor along because I was like, you seriously need to get some genetic testing. And I'm like, what if it's 90%? So in my profile, it's 90%. And when we went to break, because I was sitting in the front row, like I always am, and the guy came up, he looked at my test, and he went, you've either got one of those patients or that's why you became a naturopath. And I said, yeah, I've had quite a journey that's also included mercury poisoning. And one of their big answers for what to do about a lot of those genetic glitches is actually the product that we're going to talk about today. And I was taking a practitioner product. I was doing like their high dose of 6 tablets a day. And he just said, honey, whatever you're doing, double it. So I doubled it, and I was taking 12 tablets a day, and I could feel some impact from that product. But I then found an even better product. And I know I've played around with the practitioner products. I've tried taking 25 tablets a day, and I can't get the results out of my body. And with my the people I recommend it to, that I can out of one shot of the product that we're going to talk about today. So, it started helping me to give my body and people that I'm helping an absolute steadfast baseline, and it's a baseline that is relevant to all human beings. But as soon as you feel like, yeah, I just, I'm prone to not having the energy, hormonal issues in women, just anything really not switched on properly, we have the answer of how to switch it on.
Oh, I love it. So let's do it. Let's switch it on,
Yeah.
baby. Let's switch on the Broc on.
The Broc on.
Incredible product line, or product is Broc on, you guys. And we're going to talk about, well, I'm going to listen about the importance of these key ingredients that are in here. And Linda, what I'd love you to go into is not just the key ingredients, but like you said you were taking, 6 to 25 of one product, then you took only one of these and felt an extreme difference. So why? Why is this one far superior, far poignant, and far more effective than other products that are there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what is it?
What is it? So the first thing, so it's Broc on. So it does have something to do with broccoli. So some of you might know that broccoli is the most researched food herbal product in the world, thanks to a whole lot of research done by Johns Hopkins University. And in fact, any questions that you have about this product, you want to just jump onto Google and put in sulforaphane, which is the active compound in the end. By the time it gets into our body, you just put in sulforaphane and whatever question you have or condition, and you will find research about that and how activating these pathways works in whatever it is that you could potentially be Googling. And so the thing about broccoli, we all know it's quite good for us and that it has immune boosting effects, helps our body survey for cells that want to multiply, those sorts of things. I think that's quite well established amongst the general public. What people don't realize is that the compounds that are really good for you are 300 to 500 times stronger in a 3-day-old broccoli sprout than it is in a head of broccoli. And so what you really want to be doing is kind of getting a chunk of broccoli sprout nutrition into you, because the broccoli sprout has these compounds. They're glucoraphanin and mycinerase, and when they get into our digestive system, they turn into sulforaphane. And sulforaphane is this amazing, highly researched compound, and I think I could talk for days, but definitely hours about it. So it does some significant things. If we just pop onto the next slide, we start looking at some of the significant things that it activates. So it activates something called NRF2, which is basically a switch in our genetic code. And this switch activates and turns on around 200 of our innate detoxification and antioxidant pathways. And this is huge. And this is why when you start looking at, I've got these kind of funky genetic glitches and things, that in functional medicine, the first thing they say is get a really good quality sulforaphane yielding product into your body, let it upregulate that pathway, turn everything on. And everybody needs a certain amount of pathway upregulation, because nothing works optimally, but there are people out there where there's a lot of the pathways not working. So we want to upregulate these pathways to turn them on so that our body naturally starts producing more detoxification enzymes like glutathione, and there's special ones for hormones and that sort of thing, and to upregulate these really big antioxidant pathways, because antioxidants, I guess, probably since the 80s or so, have been a bit of a buzzword. But what people don't realize is that the antioxidants that our cells make, these work in the effect of tens of thousands of times what a nutrient that you might take deemed as an antioxidant. And it's really considered now the safest thing to do is to get your own antioxidant pathways working, so that you're not taking a bulk antioxidant on top of it, which could actually interfere with your own antioxidant pathways that are already if they're working properly, they're hugely strong, you know, like I think some of them are sort of 80,000 times what, you know, a certain vitamin you might take and consider as an antioxidant. So that's exciting because straight away with one product, we've got big boosts in natural detoxification. We've got massive antioxidant support and reducing that oxidative stress that you hear about that, you know, I always explain it to people. You know, oxidative stress, it's just the byproducts of burning oxygen and our fuel. And those byproducts, like if they don't get squelched in the areas that make energy, they just wreak havoc. And that's a big part of not having enough energy, is that you make energy and then the byproducts jam it all up like cogs in a wheel. So when we start upregulating these pathways, we start to see some major unjamming in the cogs to do with producing energy. And that just has such significant ramifications all the way through your body, because oxidation and inflammation, they're the basis of everything that goes wrong in our body. So you might experience something down the track to do with your cardiovascular system, your muscles, etc. But when we drill right down to it, we're coming all the way back to too much oxidation, too much inflammation, and you know, potentially a series of genetic information that just can't kind of cope in the modern lifestyle. So the way to get it to cope is to kickstart it with sulforaphane. So the other really big factor that's highly researched with sulforaphane is the anti-inflammatory effect. So when we're upregulating the NRF2 pathway, something else gets downregulated, and it's the grandfather compound of inflammation, and that's NF-kappa B, nuclear factor kappa B. You don't need to remember that, but for anyone there with that kind of knowledge to kind of go, wow, all in one product that you're getting all of these pathways regulated. And then you're really working at the roots of the problems. And that's what I found in my own journey. As I learned more what was going on in my body, and I found products like these, I get to work right at the roots of the issues. And then I'm not taking things because I've got this symptom and that symptom. I'm dealing with it right upstream, so we're not getting downstream issues. So the amount of prevention and benefits and help by getting a decent quality sulforaphane into your system. And that's where this product comes in, and why I can get the results out of one sachet that I just can't get out of other products, is the consistency of the sulforaphane yield from this product. And I will say sulforaphane as well. This product has got broccoli sprouts, daikon sprouts, and kale sprouts in it as well. And there are a couple of different compounds in the same realm. Most of the research is done on sulforaphane, but the sulforaphanes are getting a lot of burgeoning research as well for turning on our innate defense mechanisms. So the compounds have to be, they have to be in the broccoli sprout. And when we get Jay Sylvester, the creator behind this, and his biochemist on, you'll really learn firsthand the big point of difference with this product is those guys don't grow any broccoli sprouts until they don't even buy the seeds. They'll get a sample of the seeds and they'll grow the seeds, and then they test for the active compounds. And, you know, I spent quite a bit of time with Jay in Sydney a week ago as part of this product, and we got to talk a lot about this. And he's like, you know, there are companies and they're going, you're going to get a 0.5 or a 1.5 yield, and we grow the stuff and we can't get any out of it, you know. Yeah. So they don't grow the seeds until they know they've got the yield. They've got access now to really making sure. They always make sure, like if the seed's not up to it, they don't grow it. So they're growing seed. And then Alan, the biochemical brains behind getting that quality broccoli sprout into a powder, he's just spent most of his career working that out. And so they have very specialized dryers that just like dry the broccoli sprout in a way that it doesn't get damaged. And I think that's, well, it is the big difference, because the difference obviously is what is produced and what gets put into this product is consistent, and it's always tested, and it never gets kind of damaged, because there are broccoli sprout products out there. I don't know if I've taken all of them. I've tried kind of masses of them, and sometimes you get a hit and sometimes you don't. And this is consistent. It's always fantastic. And and then sometimes you get an extra batch where you go, holy crap, it's stronger than ever because of the seed quality. So that's what Broc On brings to the table, is quality seed and consistency, and more consistency. Yeah, so I think that answers
with that, you nailed it, Linda. Like the experience, I've been on it I'm on my last sachet of 30. And for me, who doesn't have a lot of huge issues, but I felt it day one, day two, the mental clarity that I felt, the groundswell of just like it's not energy that's a zing, it's you just have stamina. Like that's the feel that I got from it. And knowing that it's doing all of these other things is added bonus, added bonus, added bonus. And I have to tell you guys, I even gave it to my kids. I had to hide the taste with a little bit of pineapple juice like you recommend, but the benefits are absolutely incredible.
Oh, that's cool. I look forward to hearing about that, because we had a few conversations and I go, well, some of those things that, Jojo's shared with me about her body. I said to Jojo, you're going to change from your first shot, because if you had, it's a couple of hormonal things. And if you've got that tendency, that's those glitchy pathways, and this will just turn it on. So then when she started talking about some things with her son, I'm like, well, I wonder where he inherited that from.
Yeah, it's passed
so
down, guys.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You can start kind of helping his genetic information just write better proteins and everything by giving it a nudge every day.
Yeah, no, it's so good. So, okay, we've got this incredible product for everyone that's like, yes, I want this in my body. We need to have it. Pre-launch is happening at convention. But what's really cool, Linda, and what I'm so excited about is I want to go to your background and bridge this product with a few others that we've highlighted here in MDC Marketplace, because you're not just like, you haven't dabbled in this industry. You are a top leader, 7-figure earner in this industry, and you got your start with a couple of key products that are now superior in MDC Marketplace, and they are best friends and going to be best friends with Broc On. So tell us a little bit about that kind of trifecta you are excited to now have.
It's the fabulous clear drops, which is kind of how this all sort of started, and from a YouTube with a naturopath friend of mine in Australia, and we're talking about sulforaphane and zeolite, which got us into the zeolite conversation. And then these guys are like, well, what's this sulforaphane kind of stuff? And I said, oh yeah, that's a product that needs a marketplace, bigger than what it's got. So I cut my teeth in network marketing on, one of the first significantly effective zeolites that came to market, and it changed my life because of my mercury poisoning. I started taking the zeolite in my late 20s. I had done so much around detoxification, but mercury's insidious. But I pretty much wasn't coping unless I had a far infrared sauna every week. I didn't have sort of the stability. And I tell you what, micronized clinoptinolite, you want to start helping some people and helping bodies kind of clog, because that's what happens to us. We might have tendencies with these genetic glitches, but the other thing that happens, and I can't emphasize how much it happens, like it's just massive, is the toxic accumulation from our environment. And then some of us get an extra kind of hits of toxic accumulation, and also have, poor detox genes that allow it to accumulate more. And man, is the answer to that is clear drops. And it's clear drops with Broc On. You want a combination that I wish every functional medicine practitioner knew about, because this is the combination that I use to absolutely save people's bacons and change their lives when they go, oh my God, I've been to so many practitioners. How come I've never really been helped? And then now it's all unraveling. It's that combination. And I think the other big go-to that I recommend a lot in those kind of scenarios is methylated B vitamins. So delighted to see that the Balance product from Sean and Ty has that methylated B vitamin complex to go hand in hand. So I started saying to Jojo, it's like, oh my God, it's like that perfect trifecta, and it's all in one company. It's not like you have to order this here and order that there. Yeah, it's probably a dream come true for me. Yeah.
That's awesome. And we
Yeah.
we do have a couple questions that came in. So if you guys do have more questions, drop them in the chat. We're coming to like the end here. But one of the question is, how often do you take the Broc on with the clear drops and the Balance from Sean and Ty? How often would you do that, Linda?
I would do it as a daily kind of regime. If you talk to the doctor from Clear Drops, he goes, like, people need to get, like, they don't get how toxic the world is, and they need to take it every day. I say to people, it's one thing getting your body well, it's another thing keeping it well. So sometimes we might build up to extra amounts to clear backlog, but my general recommendation would be a shot of Broc on a day, a dose of Clear Drops, and B complex. Like, that's always an everyday thing, because they're water soluble and our body metabolizes them, and we need another kick again every morning.
Yeah, so good. Well, as we wrap up here, is there any last things you want people to know before we go live on Saturday and you fly 19 hours across the world to be with us?
I mean, that will be a day where I probably will take 4 Broc shots on that flight. I know people, when you get off a flight, I don't know, not everyone's done the super long haul, but I've got 12 hours up to San Fran, then another 14 hours back. But you can get off those planes feeling pretty groggy. A lot of it's dehydration, but a lot of it they've established is actually toxicity as well. Those planes are drenched in fire retardants and those sorts of things. And I've kind of experimented it. I would take one as I leave here, but then as you get into the plane trip, you start getting that, I don't know if I want to fall asleep, stay awake, I feel really groggy. And I go, I wonder how much of this is just overload. Take a Broc on, and then it only takes like 10 minutes or so away. And then you're like, oh, I'm clear again. My body was just getting overloaded, with whatever's going on in the air and things. A lot of airplanes now, every hour you can smell that, they're putting kind of perfumes with toluene through the air conditioning and that, and it loads up. So yeah, I'll be taking a good chunk so that I turn up at the event bright and effective. Yeah.
Awesome.
And totally open. What I have normally done when I've been backing products like this and going to events as well, that I think is really important for people. If you kind of go, I wonder if I can just talk to Linda about this or that. Just find Jojo and me, and come and pull me aside, and yeah, well, we can talk to what's going on.
Yeah, awesome, Linda. We appreciate you so much. And it's going to be exciting. Linda and I are going to go live in our Facebook groups. There's going to be so much energy behind Broc on, you guys. So fall in love with this brand, fall in love with Linda, which is not hard to do. But we are so happy that you guys are all here with us, and thank you so much for tonight.
Yeah, you're very welcome. See you guys either online or in person on Saturday.
Awesome.